ਅਕਸਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਜੀਵਨ ਜਾਂ ਮੌਤ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਐਂਡ ਵੀ ਟਾਕ ਅਬਾਊਟ ਲਾਈਫ ਔਰ ਡੈਥ ਦੈਨ ਵੀ ਆਲਵੇਜ਼ ਸੇ ਔਰ ਆਪ ਖੁਦ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਜੀ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਰੱਬ ਦੇ ਹੱਥ 'ਚ ਆ, ਕਰਮਾਂ ਦਾ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਕਿਤਾਬ ਆ। ਬਟ ਡੂ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਝਦੇ ਵੀ ਹਾਂ ਜਾਂ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਰੱਬ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਕੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ? ਜੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਆ, ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਜੀ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ? ਉਹਦੇ ਲਈ ਹੁਣ ਚਾਨਣਾ ਪਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਮੇਰੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਤਾਂ ਕੱਖ ਨਹੀਂ, ਪਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਇੱਕ ਗੈਸਟ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਹੀ ਇਹੀ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ 'ਤੇ ਚਾਨਣਾ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ। ਉਹ ਬੇਸਿਕਸ ਆਫ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਹੋਏ ਆ, ਪ੍ਰਚਾਰਕ ਆ। ਡਿਸਕੋਰਸਿਸ ਇਨ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼, ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਕਸਰ ਦੇਖੇ ਹੋਣੇ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਟ 'ਤੇ ਮਿਲੀਅਨਸ ਆਫ ਹਿੱਟਸ। ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਹੈਗੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਬਲਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ। ਬਲਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਜੀ। ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਸਾਡੇ ਸ਼ੋਅ 'ਚ, ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਫॉर ਕਮਿੰਗ ਔਨ। ਆਪਾਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੌਤ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਕਰਮਾਂ ਦਾ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਕਿਤਾਬ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਅਤੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਜੋ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ? ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੀ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਹੈ? ਵਾਟ ਇਜ਼ ਦੇਅਰ ਹੁਕਮ ਔਨ ਮੌਤ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲੀ?
First line that comes to mind about janam maran, which is birth and death. Guru Sahib ji ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਆਵਣ ਜਾਣ ਇੱਕ ਖੇਲ ਬਣਾਇਆ. There's this play that has been created of coming and going, which is life and death. And we all are familiar, most of us will be familiar with Japji Sahib Bani. And in there, Maharaj Ji say that Gave ko ji la, that God, there's this play of taking life from a body, ji la, fir de means a body, then it's put into another body. So janam maran, some of us think कि बस ਇੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਮੁੱਕ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਕਹਾਣੀ ਬਸ
ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਜੀ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਮਾਰੇ ਗੱਲ ਖਤਮ,
ਪਰ ਖੇਡ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਹ। ਅਸਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਆਏ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਪੂਰਬ ਜਨਮ ਕੇ ਮਿਲੇ ਸੰਜੋਗੀ। That sanjog means when we all come together, you meet each other. Yeah. We meet each other karke purv karma da hisab hai, because of our past lives. Okay. We may have had some form of connection that might be unresolved or something that we were going to work on together. And because of that connection, it's brought us back together again. Purv janam ke mile sanjogi, and people then come and meet again. So eh khed Maharaj ji kehinde janama diya. It's been going on for lifetimes that we've probably met before.
Probably have. ਗਾਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਮਿਲਣਾ ਹੋ। So it's just ਕਿ ਸਾਡੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੌਤ ਬਾਰੇ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦਾ, ਪਹਿਲੀ ਤਾਂ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ ਭੈੜਾ ਮਨਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ। ਅਤੇ ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਹੋਣ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ ਹੋਵੇ ਜਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਹੋਵੇ, ਆਪਾਂ we're told to brush these things under the carpet. We rarely talk about these things with men especially, ਕਿ ਤੂੰ ਬੰਦਾ ਬਣ, ਤੂੰ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਾਹਨੂੰ ਕਰਦਾ, ਤੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਬਾਕੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਮੇਵਾਰੀ ਚੱਕਣੀ ਆ, ਤੂੰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਮਜ਼ੋਰ ਪੈ ਜਾਊਗਾ। And when it comes to talking about people who have taken their own lives, ਆਤਮਾ ਹੱਤਿਆ which we call, and ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ we hear stuff ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੀ ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਬੜਾ ਪਾਪ ਆ, ਮਾੜੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ, ਨਹੀਂ ਜੀ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਸੀ। ਪਰ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਸਾਡਾ ਧਰਮ ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਕੀ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ? ਸਾਡਾ ਜੋ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਕੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ?
ਸੋ ਮੇਰਾ ਖਿਆਲ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ 2-3 ਸਵਾਲ ਇਕੱਠੇ
ਹੀ ਘਸੋੜ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਜੋ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਬੋਲਣਾ ਹਟੂੰਗਾ, ਹੁਣ ਬਲਜੀਤ ਤੋਂ ਸੁਣਾਂਗੇ।
That's fine. So there's quite a few questions in that what you've just said. First of all, ਮੌਤ ਬਾਰੇ, like we brush it under the carpet. We just tend not to even talk about death. Maybe now in some of my generation, I say my generation, mera bhi hun generation middle chi hai kite, like, so there's a lot younger generation as well now. We're probably talking about it a bit more, touching on death a lot more. But I remember growing up in a culture saying, eh kate maut bare kate, like idda na keh, like it's almost sokh bol idda nahi kehna. When we talk about ke aap marna bhi hai kade, nahi idda nahi bolna. Look, Guru Sahib Ji says that pehla maran kabool. First thing is to come to that acceptance of that there's something called death. Guru Arjan Dev Ji ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜਨਮੰ ਤਾਂ ਮਰਣੰ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਜਨਮ ਹੈ, where there's birth, that death is inevitable. It's there. They're both, ਕੋਈ ਫਰਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਵਿੱਚ. Just like there's life, there's death. So that's the first thing. So the Guru is saying talk about it, because it's saying ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਮਰਨ ਕਬੂਲ. It's the first thing we accept. We talk about if we've been born, we're going to die. So let's have a conversation about it. ਹੁਣ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਤਲਬ like ਘਰਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ we should talk about it more. ਹਨਾ. So ਦੂਸਰਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਵਾਲ ਆ about mental health itself. ਹਨਾ. ਕਿ do we brush that under the carpet as well, especially when it comes to men? I thought that we're talking about it a lot more now. It's we're breaking that kind of taboo, and it's becoming easier to talk about these subjects and topics. But I still feel there's something we're not quite getting right, and we're still failing at some level, because when somebody actually starts suffering, and then either ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਲੇ ਦੁਆਲੇ ਆ ਚੁੱਪੀ ਕਰ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਤੈਨੂੰ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦਾ, and it's still kind of, we're not breaking that taboo. I think we still got a lot more work to do, and we still need to make it more comfortable to start talking about it. People are saying ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੋ, start talking about it, but still there's that barrier and there's that level of feeling ashamed.
A feeling of failure. I think they feel that if you admit ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਕਮਜ਼ੋਰੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ, if you admit it, you're a failure. A lot of people think, like you've touched on, that perhaps it's contagious. ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਜੇ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਵੇ, ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਯਾਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੈਗੇਟਿਵ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੋਚਣਾ, ਪੋਜ਼ਿਟਿਵ ਸੋਚਣਾ, whereas take it in the whole.
Sometimes I think it's more about they're saying we don't want to say the wrong thing.
Maybe.
And that's why I think there's more education needed. Like, so one of the first things they teach you when you do first aid mental health, when we've got first aid for your physical body, but there's a first aid for mental health as well, which I'm trained in that first aid mental health. One of the first things they tell you, they teach you how to listen. Kisnu sunna kidda hai. Guru Nanak Dev Ji gave us 4 pauriyan of sunaya, sunaya siddh peer sunnat. So it says, so one of the first steps that taught in that is how do we listen to somebody? That way we can become more aware of what's going on inside somebody, reading between the lines and really, really listening to them, not just passively listening to someone. So I think it needs to go that step further now of saying, gal karo, it's okay, speak about your mental health. But we've got to start training people on, okay, well, if somebody does start speaking, how do you even listen to them? So that's very important.
What does the Gurbani say, Sadhguru say about the spirit of Jardi Kala? We often hear about it.
So I'm just going to go back because you asked me about Atam Hatya. So what does Gurbani directly say about suicide, Atam Hatya? Gurbani doesn't directly speak about somebody taking their physical life. What Gurbani does use that word Atam Hatya though, but in which context? Gurbani says, Naam na jap hai ta Atam Kati. Guru says actually those that aren't meditating and connecting to that one and seeing that light of God in everyone, the Guru is saying that in every moment they are taking their life.
It's a waste of life, basically.
Yes. So in that context, the Guru talks about suicide. So there's no other direct, in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, there's no direct conversation about Guru Granth Sahib Ji. So then that demystifies and helps us to understand this whole saying about ke Atam Hatya, suicide, e paap hai. And when people say, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛ ਕੇ ਦੇਖੋ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਆ ਲਿਖਿਆ, ਕੌਣ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਆ, ਆਪਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਰੋ, ਆਪਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਚੰਗੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ. We're not saying do it, we're not saying it's a positive step to take, but does the Guru term it like that? No.
It's not criminalized.
No, Guru ne kadi idna kiya nahi sanu. The Guru didn't criminalize it in that way. But like everything else, like, speaking to you earlier, there's a consequence for everything. In that same way, there will be some form of what comes from suicide. And again, but that isn't defined in that way. So nobody can actually say, it's going to be exactly like that when they, leave their body by suicide and leave in that way. But in no form of way is that saying, it's okay. It's not encouraging anyone. No? But it's very important for us to understand because it can make people feel so bad and low. The families that are left behind, when people saying like, right? They've committed such a huge sin. They are already burdened with their loss and the grief. Imagine them putting that on top of somebody, on their head already with what they're living with. So we've got to be very careful within the language that we are using. But that isn't giving somebody the green light as well. Because the Guru tells us very clearly that we've been traveling for many lifetimes. The Guru says there's been a build-up of karmic load. Janam ki isman ko mal lagi. So in that same way, we're talking about experiences. Do people come and actually approach us and talk to us about when they get to that point in their life when they feel it's unbearable? And a real life example was somebody in their late teens, came to speak to me through their parents very distressed, saying they can't live with what they've done, need to end it, it's too painful. But it was talking and giving them that wisdom, because Gurbani hai ki. Gurbani is, the Guru is enlightening us about the truth of this creation, of life and death, of how it works. So just sharing with him that wisdom, your mind's in distress. You're going to drop your body, right? If you took off your arm, your mind's still in distress. But if you then decided to just get rid of your complete body, but your mind is still
in distress, and it leaves your body in distress. So therefore, when we say नहीं बाज सुकून आ ਜਾਂਦਾ या चैन आ ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤੜਪਦੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਚਲੀ ਗਈ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਫਿਰ ਚੈਨ ਲੱਭਣਾ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਔਖਾ ਹੀ ਹੋਣਾ.
So it's still going to have to come to a place. It's still going to have to find that.
Find it.
So
it's not instant, right?
So as difficult and as painful as it is, let's try our best to find that now and to get rid of that burden and that pain, and let's try and work through it now. I'm not saying it's easy, because a lot of people know I speak very openly. I've been in that place myself of where I've thought, I just cannot do this anymore. And it'll be better if I'm not here anymore. But somehow I got through that. And through the thought of, speaking to God, doing ardasa, those pleas inside to get me through this moment of distress, of wanting to leave my body. And then one day reaching that place and thinking, I could have left, but I'm here and I can tell the story, and I might not be completely healed. I might be still living with certain struggles, but I've got that now experience and wisdom of working through it to tell the story today and hopefully to help many others as well.
How can we recognize the signs, and how can we as a community do a lot more? I mean, when we're talking about our societies, our gurukars, how can we help people who are in this situation, people who are contemplating taking their own life, people who are in severe depressed states? We've seen a few recent cases where unfortunately people have taken their own lives, young munde and ortan bhi, and because they feel they can't go on, they've left messages, heartfelt messages on their social media before taking their own life, and it's a tough read, and it's a cry for help, if anything, and you just feel as if perhaps no one listened, or perhaps no one cared or understood. So ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੀਵੈਂਟ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਛਾਣ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, and ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰੋਕ ਅਲਟੀਮੇਟਲੀ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, and as what do we need to do? ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ collectively?
As you know, that there's no one word answer to say, let's do this. I would say, as a starting point, what we can all do within our homes is create a space to know, because everyone today is so bombarded and they've got their heads are stuck in their phones, in their social medias. I put my hand up as well. I'm no different. I'm
the same. We're all the same.
But is finding just ek sama bana lana, right? Saying that we're going to make this a family thing, no matter what, right? If during this point, at this time, whether it's we're going to have dinner together, we're having dinner together. There's no phones on the table, right? Let's eat together, and then let's just have a chat afterwards, non-judgmental, and really just switch off and take away your preconceived ideas and thinking, nahi, ye to kuch nahi hunda. Like I remember somebody saying to me, no, don't say you've got anxiety, you're fine. And I'm thinking, I'm not. You know, don't say that to someone. Just say to them, all right, just talk. I'll give you an example of my youngest son. He's 7. The older one is a lot more confident. He'll come back from school, he'll blurt everything out. The younger one, not so much. I have to find that moment with him. So, and it's normally bedtime. And if I just spend that 5 minutes, you know, just tucking him in and, you know, just spending that time with him as he's going to sleep, I know he'll start just talking and whatever he needs to express. But I have to find out, look at his behavior. When will he? If I was direct with him, he'd just go quiet. He'd even sometimes start crying. So I had to find, what is it? When can I find him in that moment?
So much pyar and trying to extract information.
And it's the same with adults. Try and look at and start reading people's energy and think, okay, look, I can see that at this point, they will be more expressive. We've got to find those moments. And these 5 minutes, 10 minutes could literally save somebody's life.
How can we get our Dharam, Guru Sahib, to help people in distress? ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਕੋਲ ਜਾ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਸਾਈਕਾਇਟਰਿਸਟ ਕੋਲ ਜਾ, ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰ ਕੋਲ ਜਾ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਪਰ ਅਕਸਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਘੱਟ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਜਾ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਸੁਣੋ. How can that help people?
So the structure that Guru Sahib actually gave us was perfect for our mental well-being, and it was a structure to help us with our mind. And just to put it out there, you know, we're not discouraging anyone. If anybody is in need and they need to go to their GP, needs to find a psychologist, whether it be through their GP or even private, please, you know, take that step and don't hold back. The Guru has set that structure for us as well. Is it in place everywhere, in every Gurdwara? No. Yeah. Is there an odd Gurdwara, or not even a certain Gurdwara, or a few groups that are helping to put that structure together? I would say yes. Not many. Yes. And that structure is built on kirtan, singing. You know, like when we sing, that devotional singing, it can help us to evoke emotions. Really. So that's one. And then the actual concept of Sangat itself. People misunderstand Sangat. Sangat is a group of people that come together. Their core, where everything comes from, is the same. So from the same Guru, from Guru Nanak, Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And then they all collectively have got a similar yearning and seeking to go on this spiritual journey together and find out more about their mind. And so then this collective energy that comes together that helps to elevate each other. And in that collective energy, again, you might do some kirtan, but then one of the most important, I can't say the most, one of the most important parts, what Bhai Gurdas Ji said that used to happen in Kartarpur Sahib, that Guru Nanak Dev Ji established, is Gyan, Gosht, Charcha Sada, is a conversation. That's what's missed. Yeah, people do Katha, but they don't give the Sangat an opportunity to say, Samajh Pai. I might say so much to you today. It doesn't mean you've grasped everything, but the opportunity, Guru Nanak gave people the opportunity. Once they've done, they would recite Bani, they would even explain, but it doesn't mean everyone still got it. It doesn't mean everyone's still satisfied. Then Gosht, Bhai Gurdas Ji said. So then they would say, everyone would have an opportunity
to
sit
ask
together.
Questions and talk about it.
Ohi that we're talking about, that vichar, that thing that was stuck in your mind, that in your head, that you thought you can't share with anyone, one person starts and think, oh my God, I just thought it was me that was struggling to get up in the morning and I was beating myself up about it, was missing my part. Oh, look, it's not just me, is it? It's them. Oh, they're like, oh, constantly, I just get angry. My kids, they're like, I do end up getting frustrated. And they're like, I thought I couldn't say that. And, oh yeah, me as well. I need some help. And then you do vichar, it starts coming together. Yeah, you start giving each other ideas. And you go away with tools. So these structures were given that we need to bring back. Imagine a few times, when the first time I sat on a stage doing katha and I started asking questions to the Sangat, some of the granthis just looked at me, hey, ki kar la pe? Tu apni katha kar rahe, and you read the body language and you say, what pehli tak we used to get, harassed for doing katha in English. And I'd say, Maharaj Farsi bole ya, that tusi ke nahi Punjabi kar le.
Tusi baithe England ch.
Maharaj went to Makkah, Medina, they spoke in Farsi, yak arz guftam pes to dargos kun kartar. And I said to them, samjh pai, and they're like, nahi pota tha lagga nahi kuch. Right, so we need to actually bring back what Guru Sahib did, these structures which are for our well-being, for our mental well-being, which are the structures of, and then physical seva. So you get in your exercise in as well. And then Guru Angad Dev Ji wrestling. So it was the whole package. Structure was there that they did collectively together. So the sports was there, and then the physical serving was there. The conversation was there. The recitation, the singing, everything. The structure's there. We just need to bring it back and do it in a language that everyone can understand.
If anyone's out there now and they're going through a tough time, and maybe even contemplating taking their own life, and they've got depressing thoughts, negative thoughts, and what would your advice be to them? So what would you say to them that they need to do, or that they should go and do? And it's quite essential, I think, that we need to get this message out there. So what is your message to them?
The first thing that the Guru says that we do for any karaj, any task is an ardas. And believe it or not, even for mental health, you start off with an ardas, which is a plea. Right? We talk about the law of attraction. Yeah, the ardas is a version. The ardas is that. So we start off with a plea. We put our hands together and say that I'm struggling. Yeah, and you're talking to that higher power that we refer to as a Akal Purkh, as God, and say, I'm really struggling here. And I need a step forward and I need some guidance. And I want to get out of this. Yeah, you take that step first. And then from there, you kind of just have this inkling to take the next step. And that could be for you. And if that next step is, cry out for help. That could be from your GP. That could be on your Instagram. That could be phone somebody, anyone. Yeah. And don't hold back then. You know what? When you speak to God and you say I need help, I'm telling you that somebody's listening to your prayer. And there's somebody sitting there waiting to listen to your pain as well. There is koi na koi utte haiga ya is duniya te jehda ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਸੁਣਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਤਿਆਰ ਆ. Don't think they're not. Yes, somebody's there. So cry out for that help in whichever capacity or means that may be. And then, if it might be the GP, it might be anyone. It might be someone from Sangat. Yeah. So take these steps, and then for your general well-being, there's so many things that we can put into place. Like we said, the structures that the Guru has given. Spend more time in nature, whatever that may be. But do let yourself know. I know I've been there, so it's very difficult in that time. But I really want Sangat to know that it's not permanent what you're feeling. Yeah, these thoughts, they come and go. They're just based off your life experiences. Your thoughts don't define who you actually are. That very thought you're having today, it can change by the time you wake up. And I know it might be that you've been going through it for months or even years, but it can change. If we call God limitless, be'ant, that means your possibilities in life are limitless. That means that very thing you think you can't get out of, there can be a shift and a change. And one day you could be that one that makes a huge difference and an impact to people's lives. So do remind yourself that and tell yourself that there is, and you call out for help, and there's so many organizations today that are doing great work, that are there to listen, and structures are now being put into place that can help.
Bye, Baljit Singh ji. Thank you for coming to talk to us today. And thank you to see Annie clearly and referencing to also Guru Sahib sanu message ditta. People can reach out to you as well on your website, and I believe you've set up an organization to deal with this very topic.
It's a non-profit organization called Journey of Compassion, and it's all about mental well-being. And we've already put certain structures in place, which is, one, we create that Sangat space on Zoom every Sundays. It's been a huge help to people. It saved lives. Wow. And it happens every week. So that's one of many. The website will be ready very soon. So yeah, this is just one of many. There's so many more organizations that are doing work that I'm sure you guys can provide the names and the links as well.
Yeah, we will. And if anyone wants to get involved, then by all means they can contact you.
Absolutely, yes. They can go onto my Instagram, which is Journey of Compassion. Just find us. Like I said, the website will be ready soon as well. Email us on contact@journeyofcompassion.com.
Like Baljit said, if you reach out, then someone is willing to listen. And they're here to listen. People are there to listen to you. You've just got to cry out for help, and someone is there. Thank you very much once again. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.